stood at the entrance of the Nexus Combat Academy and felt his stomach twist. The massive station floated in space, its metal walls gleaming under distant stars. Through the transparent dome above, he could see warships passing by. This was the most famous military training center in known space, and he was about to walk inside. He was 19 years old and small for a human. His uniform hung loose on his thin frame. The bag over his shoulder contained everything he owned. His parents were dead, killed in a colony raid 2 years ago. This academy was his chance to make something of his life, his chance to matter. The doors opened, stepped through. The main hall was enormous. Hundreds of cadets moved through it, talking and laughing, but none of them were human. Saw the first tall reptilian creatures with scales that shimmered green and gold. They walked with confidence, their tails swishing behind them. Then he spotted the insect-like beings with 4 arms and clicking mandibles. In the corner, a group stood together, their crystalline bodies glowing softly with inner light. Everyone stopped and stared at him. "Is that a human?" someone whispered. "Look how small it is." Kept his head up and walked to the registration desk. An officer looked down at him with yellow eyes. "Name," the officer said. "From Earth, Sol District." The officer's mouth curved into what might have been a smile. It showed too many teeth. "A Terran, how interesting. We have not had many of your kind here." He tapped his screen. "You are assigned to Barracks 7. Your instructor is, try not to die in the first week." Other cadets laughed, took his room assignment and walked away, feeling their eyes on his back. Barracks 7 was a long room with 20 beds. Most were already claimed. Found an empty bunk in the corner and started unpacking. The cadet in the next bed was a massive, at least 7 feet tall. He looked at and snorted. "They let anything in these days," the said to his friends. "Look at this little creature. It will break in training." "My name is," said quietly. "I did not ask your name, Terran. I am Rax. Remember it. I will be the one who sends you home crying." The other cadets laughed, said nothing and continued unpacking. His hands shook slightly, but he kept his face calm. He had learned to hide his fear. The next morning, training began. Instructor was old with scars covering his scales. He stood before the assembled cadets with his arms crossed. His eyes swept over them and stopped on. "We have a human this cycle," announced. "How unfortunate. Humans are the weakest species in this sector. Soft skin, weak bones, no natural weapons. They survived first contact through luck and nothing more." He walked closer to. "But Academy policy says I must train you anyway. Try to keep up, little human." The training was brutal. Combat exercises in full gravity, weapons drills, endurance runs, was slower than everyone else, weaker than everyone else. When they sparred, he was thrown to the ground again and again. The cadets hit hard. The cadets were fast. Even they who seemed peaceful were stronger than him. After the first week, his body was covered in bruises. His ribs ached. He could barely walk back to the barracks each night, but he did not quit. Rax made sure life was worse than just training. He would destroy his equipment, tearing his uniforms or breaking his gear. He contaminated his food rations with chemicals that made him sick. Worst of all, he recorded his defeats in the training arena and broadcast them on the Academy network. Every student on the station could watch getting beaten. The videos were titled things like "Human Weakness" and "Terran Failure." "Why do you not give up?" Rax asked one night, standing over his bunk. "You are embarrassing yourself. You are embarrassing your entire species." Looked up at him. "Because this is what I came here to do." "You came here to fail," Rax said, "and everyone is watching." 2 other human cadets had been at the academy when arrived. One was named, a young man from Mars colony. The other was a woman from Luna Station. Within 3 weeks, both of them transferred out. The harassment was too much, the daily humiliation too heavy. Came to his bunk the night before he left. "Come with me," he said. "This place is not for humans. They will never accept us. They will never treat us fairly." Then someone has to stay, said. Someone has to prove we can do this. Shook his head sadly. You cannot prove anything if you are dead, brother. Be careful. After they left, was alone, the only human in a station of aliens who hated him. But he was not completely alone. Was a Terran engineering officer, 30 years old, who worked in the Academy's maintenance section. She had heard about the human cadet being harassed. One night, she found in the mess hall, eating synthetic rations that tasted like plastic. Those will keep you alive but not healthy, she said, sitting down across from him. She slid a container across the table. Real food from Earth. I saved it from my personal supplies. Stared at the container. Inside was rice and vegetables, real rice. His eyes burned with sudden tears. Thank you, he whispered. I know what they are doing to you, said quietly. I know about the videos, the sabotage, all of it. I have been documenting everything, sending reports up the chain. No one cares, said. They want me to quit. I care, replied. And I promise you someone else cares too, someone important. You just have to hold on a little longer. From that night on, became's lifeline. She smuggled him food, real medical supplies when he was injured, sometimes just someone to talk to when the loneliness became too heavy. But the abuse continued. Instructor openly called the mistake in front of other cadets. During combat drills, he always paired with the largest, strongest opponents. When actually won a strategy simulation using clever tactics, declared it a computer error, and reset his scores. Terrans are not warriors, announced in class. They are survivors like rats, that is all. In the combat arena one afternoon, faced Rax in a sparring match. It was supposed to be practice, but Rax fought like he wanted to kill. He threw across the arena, broke his arm with a crushing grip, kicked him in the ribs so hard something cracked. Medics rushed in when stopped moving. As they carried him away on a stretcher, Rax stood over him and spoke loud enough for everyone to hear. Terrans are evolutionary mistakes, weak, pathetic. You will never be a warrior, you will never be anything but this, a broken thing on the ground. The other cadets cheered. Closed his eyes and let the darkness take him. Part of him wanted to agree with Rax. Maybe humans were not meant for this. Maybe he should go home. Maybe he should accept what everyone kept telling him. But deep in his chest, something burned. Something that refused to go out no matter how much they tried to break him. He was still here, he was still fighting. And for now, that would have to be enough. Spent 4 days in the medical bay. His arm was set in a regeneration cast. His ribs were wrapped. The doctors, all non-human, treated him with cold efficiency. They did not look him in the eye. On the 5th day, he returned to training. He could barely hold a weapon with his healing arm, but he showed up anyway. The other cadets whispered and pointed. Some laughed. Rax smiled at him with all those sharp teeth. Back for more, little human, Rax called across the training yard. Good, I was getting bored. Said nothing. He picked up a training staff and took his position. The pain in his ribs screamed with every movement, but he did not let it show on his face. He had learned that showing pain only made them enjoy it more. The weeks dragged on, discovered something strange. While he failed at combat, he was actually good at other things. Very good. In the strategy simulations, where cadets commanded virtual fleets and armies, consistently scored in the top 10%. He could see patterns others missed. He could predict enemy movements 3 steps ahead. His tactical analysis reports were detailed and clever. But every time his scores appeared on the board, they vanished within hours. Another computer error, instructor would announce. The system is clearly broken. Human, your score is reset to 0. It happened 5 times, then 10. Eventually stopped expecting his real scores to stay on the board. He did the work anyway. Somewhere, someone was seeing his true abilities. He had to believe that. Confirmed it one night when she brought him food. I am copying all your simulation data before they delete it, she whispered. I am sending it with my reports. Someone is watching, someone important." "Who?" asked. She shook her head. "I cannot say, but keep going, please, just a little longer." Wanted to ask more, but the look in her eyes stopped him. She knew something, something that gave her hope. He decided to trust her. But the Academy was not done testing him. A month after his injury, the cadets were sent on a zero-gravity combat drill in the outer ring of the station. They wore pressure suits and fought with magnetic boots in a simulated space battle environment. It was dangerous training. Cadets could get hurt if equipment failed. Squad was assigned to defend a cargo section against an attacking team. Rax was on the attacking side, felt a cold fear in his stomach but pushed it down. He checked his suit carefully before the drill began. Everything seemed fine. The drill started. Both teams launched into zero gravity, moved carefully, using his smaller size to slip through narrow spaces. His team was actually doing well. He called out enemy positions and suggested tactics. For once, the other cadets listened because his plans worked. Then his suit alarm went off. Pressure breach, oxygen leak. His heads-up display flashed red warnings. His heart hammered. He was losing air fast, too fast. This was not a normal leak. He tried the emergency seals, but nothing worked. His vision started to blur. The cold of space was seeping through the breach. He had maybe 2 minutes before he blacked out. His engineering lessons flashed through his mind. She had taught him about suit systems late at night, showing him how everything worked. He remembered her saying, "If electronic systems fail, there are always manual overrides. You just have to know where to look." His fingers found the hidden panel on his chest plate. He ripped it open. Inside were physical switches that controlled the suit's most basic functions. His hands were shaking from cold and fear, but he forced them steady. He pulled the manual seal lever, flipped the emergency oxygen switch. The leak stopped. Backup air flooded his helmet. Gasped, pulling in precious oxygen. His vision cleared. He was alive. The drill ended. Everyone returned to the hangar, pulled off his helmet with trembling hands. Several cadets stared at him in surprise. They had expected him to die. Rax walked past him and their eyes met for just a moment, saw it clearly. No surprise in those yellow eyes. Rax had known something would happen. The Academy officials inspected suit. They took it away for analysis. 2 days later, they called him to the Commandant's office. Commandant was her crystalline body glowing with cold blue light. She looked at without emotion. "Your suit was damaged during the drill. Our analysis shows you improperly maintained your equipment. This caused the pressure breach." "That is not true," said quietly. "I checked everything before the drill." "Are you calling our analysis wrong?" His light flickered brighter. "Perhaps you are not capable of proper equipment maintenance. This is a serious violation. We are considering expelling you for safety reasons." "Someone sabotaged my suit," said. "Someone wanted me to die out there." "That is a very serious accusation. Do you have proof?" Had no proof. He had been too focused on survival to record anything. "No," he admitted, "but I know what happened." "Then this meeting is over. You are on academic probation. One more incident and you will be expelled. Dismissed." Left the office with rage burning in his chest. They were protecting Rax. They wanted gone, and they would use any excuse to make it happen. The system was rigged against him from the start. That night, alone in his bunk, recorded a message on his personal device. He spoke to no one, just to the memory of his father. "Dad, I do not think I can do this anymore. I tried, I really tried, but they will not let me succeed. They will not even let me survive. I am sorry I could not honor our family. I am sorry I was not strong enough. Maybe they are right. Maybe humans do not belong here." He saved the message but did not send it anywhere. It just felt good to say the words out loud. The next day, rumors started spreading through the Academy network. Stories about the failed Terran cadet, about how he nearly died in a simple drill because of his own incompetence, about how he was on probation and would be expelled soon. The rumors reached other stations, other military outposts, became a joke across the entire sector. "Did you hear about the human at Nexus?" Soldiers would laugh. "Cannot even maintain his own equipment. Terrans should stick to farming." Heard the whispers everywhere he went, in the mess hall, in the training yard. Even the cleaning staff looked at him with pity or contempt. The academy started using him in their recruitment propaganda, but not in a good way. Posters appeared showing other species succeeding while a small figure in the corner failed. The message was clear: not all species are meant for military service. Stopped going to the mess hall. He ate alone in his bunk when brought him food. He stopped talking to anyone except her. What was the point? No one wanted to hear what he had to say. No one believed he belonged here. "You cannot give up now," told him one night. She grabbed his shoulders and made him look at her. "I know it is hard. I know it seems impossible, but you have to hold on. Please, just a little longer. I promise you help is coming." "What help?" asked bitterly. "No one cares about one human cadet. We are just the weak species, the ones who got lucky." "That is not true," said fiercely. "And soon you will see. Someone very important has been watching you this whole time. Someone who cares very much." "Who?" demanded. But just shook her head. "I cannot say yet, but soon, very soon, everything is about to change." Wanted to believe her, but belief was hard when every day brought new humiliation. New proof that he did not belong. He was tired, so tired, tired of fighting, tired of hurting, tired of being alone. 3 days later, something happened that made the entire station go silent. A Terran military vessel appeared on the Academy's sensors. It was a massive warship, painted black with silver markings. The kind of ship that made other species nervous. It requested emergency docking clearance. The name of the ship was the Iron Phoenix. And everyone in the sector knew who commanded that ship. Admiral was coming to Nexus Combat Academy. The Iron Phoenix docked at the main hangar bay. The entire academy watched through cameras and windows as the airlock opened. Marines emerged first, humans in black combat armor carrying weapons that had seen real war. They moved with the efficiency of soldiers who had killed and survived. Then Admiral stepped through. He was 58 years old and looked like violence given human form. Tall and broad-shouldered, with short gray hair and a face covered in scars. He wore a simple uniform with no decorations, but everyone knew who he was, what he had done, the battles he had won when victory seemed impossible. Admiral commanded the Ghost Fleet, 5 ships that operated in the darkest corners of space, doing the missions other fleets refused. He had broken the siege at 7, holding a single planet against an entire armada for 6 months. 3,000 humans against 500,000 warriors. The humans won. After that battle became a legend. Even aliens spoke his name with respect, or fear. Now he walked through the academy's halls and every cadet snapped to attention. It did not matter. They all stood frozen as he passed. Even instructor, who mocked humans daily, pressed himself against the wall with his head bowed. Commandant met him at the command center. Her crystalline body flickered nervously. "Admiral, this is an unexpected honor. How can Nexus Academy serve you?" Looked at her with eyes like cold steel. "I am here to see Cadet of Soul District." Silence filled the room. Every officer present stared in confusion. Why would humanity's greatest warrior want to see the failed human cadet? The one who could barely pass his training. It made no sense. "May I ask why?" said carefully. "No," replied. "You may not. Where is he?" "In training. I will have him summoned immediately." "Do not bother. I will find him myself." Turned and walked away. His Marines followed. The commandant and her officers exchanged worried glances but said nothing. You did not question Admiral, not if you valued your career. was in the combat arena when word spread that Admiral was on the station. The other cadets whispered excitedly. Rax laughed loudly. Perhaps the great Admiral comes to remove our failed human personally, to save us the embarrassment of his presence. The other cadets laughed with him, ignored them. He was used to the mockery by now. He focused on his training staff, practicing basic strikes against a dummy. His movements were slow and tired. Bruises covered his arms. His healing ribs ached with each breath. "Cadet!" The voice came from the arena entrance. Everyone turned. Admiral stood there, flanked by his Marines. The entire training session stopped. Cadets dropped their weapons. Instructors stood at attention. Even Rax stopped laughing. His eyes found across the arena floor. "Come here." His heart hammered. This was it. The famous Admiral had come to expel him personally, to tell him that humans did not belong in military service, to confirm what everyone already believed. He walked forward on shaking legs, very aware that hundreds of eyes watched him. He stopped 5 feet from Admiral and saluted. "Sir." Looked him up and down, took in the bruises, the thin frame, the exhaustion in his eyes. For a long moment he said nothing. Then he spoke. "What is your name?" "Cadet, sir, Sol District, Earth." "Your family name?" Hesitated. "My parents are dead, sir. I have no family." "That is not what I asked." "Is my full name, sir, just—" His expression did not change. "Where were your parents from before Sol?" "A small village, province. My father worked on colony survey ships. He died 2 years ago defending settlers from raiders." Something flickered in his eyes. "How did he die?" "He used mining equipment to fight when the raiders came. He was not a soldier, just a surveyor. But he bought time for civilians to escape. He saved 43 people." "And then?" "Then the raiders killed him." Nodded slowly. "That sounds like family behavior, fighting with whatever is available, refusing to run, protecting others even when outnumbered." He paused. "Your father's full name?" "His name was also, sir. We shared names. It is our tradition." "I know," said quietly. "I know your tradition. I know because my younger brother followed the same one." The arena went completely silent. Every cadet, every instructor, every person watching through cameras held their breath. "My brother's name was," continued. "He became a colony surveyor after I joined the military. We lost touch for years because of my assignments. I heard he died 2 years ago, defending colonists. I tried to find his family afterward." His eyes locked onto us. "I was told there was only one son, 19 years old, attending the Nexus Combat Academy." Felt the world tilt. "Sir, I don't understand." "Yes, you do." Stepped closer. "Stand straight when I address you, nephew." The word hit like a physical blow. Nephew. Admiral, the most feared human in the sector, had just called him nephew, in front of everyone. His legs almost gave out. "That's impossible," someone whispered. "The human failure is related to Admiral." Rax stared with his mouth open. Instructor had gone pale, his scales fatting to a sickly gray. Ignored them all. He kept his eyes on. "My brother was my only family. After he died, I swore I would find his son, take care of him. But you disappeared into military service before I could reach you. I have been searching for 6 months." "I did not know," said. His voice cracked. "Father never spoke of you. I thought I was alone." "You are not alone. You have never been alone, and you will never be alone again." Turned to face the assembled cadets and instructors. His voice carried across the entire arena. "I have been receiving reports about this academy for months, about how my nephew has been treated, the abuse, the sabotage, the attempts on his life." Thought had been sending reports to Admiral. That was who she meant when she said someone important was watching. Commandant stepped forward quickly. "Admiral, I assure you, we were not aware of any abuse. If there were problems, they should have been reported through proper channels." "They were reported," said coldly. "Every incident, every assault, every destroyed piece of equipment. I have documentation of everything, including the sabotaged pressure suit that nearly killed my nephew." He pulled out a small device and activated it. A hologram appeared in the air above the arena. It showed Rax, clearly visible, working on a pressure suit in the equipment room, tampering with the oxygen seals. The timestamp showed it was hours before the zero-gravity drill. Proof. Clear, undeniable proof. Rax tried to run. He did not get 3 steps before some Marines grabbed him. They slammed him to the ground and secured his arms. Rax struggled and hissed, but the Marines held him easily. "This cadet attempted murder," said. "Against a fellow student, against my family. That is a court-martial offense under military law." He looked at Commandant. "You blamed my nephew for equipment failure. You threatened to expel him, but the real failure was yours. You allowed this to happen. You protected the abuser and punished the victim." Light flickered wildly. "We did not know, we could not have known." "You did not want to know. There is a difference." Turned back to the cadets. His voice dropped lower, harder. "Let me explain something to all of you. Something about humans, something about my family. We are not the strongest species. We are not the fastest. We do not have scales or claws or natural armor, but we have something you will never understand." He walked to where stood and placed a hand on his shoulder. "We refuse to quit, ever. My brother faced raiders with mining tools and saved 43 lives. My nephew has endured months of abuse, assault, and humiliation. His equipment was sabotaged. His scores were erased. His own instructors mocked him, and he is still here, still training, still fighting, still refusing to give up." His grip on his shoulder tightened. "That is what humans do. We get knocked down and we stand up, again, and again, and again, until our enemies are exhausted, until they realize they cannot break us because we do not know how to stay broken." He looked at Rax, pinned on the ground by Marines. "You tried to murder my nephew because you feared what he represented, not weakness, strength. The kind of strength that does not come from muscles or claws, the kind that comes from here." He tapped his chest. "From the refusal to surrender, from the willingness to keep fighting even when the fight seems lost." Then addressed directly. "You called humans weak. You said we survived first contact through luck. Let me tell you about luck. 3,000 humans held 7 against 500,000. We were outnumbered 150 to 1. We won. That was not luck. That was human endurance, human strategy, human refusal to accept defeat." Said nothing. There was nothing to say. Turned back to, "I have a request to make of the Academy. My nephew has been challenged and abused since he arrived. He has proven his ability to survive. Now I want him to prove something else. I want him to be given one sanctioned duel against any opponent, any terms, under official supervision." "That is highly irregular," began. "I do not care. Make it happen. Or I will take this matter to the Sector Command and explain how your academy attempted to cover up the murder of a human cadet. Your choice." Light dimmed. "It will be done." Rax, still pinned on the ground, laughed bitterly. "A duel? Perfect. I volunteer. I will finish what I started. I will kill your nephew properly this time." Smiled. It was not a kind smile. "Accepted. 30 days from now. That gives me time to train him properly, to teach him the Terran way of war. When we are done, you will understand why humans are feared across the stars, why we survived first contact, why we won at 7. He pulled close and spoke quietly. "You think you lost because you are weak. You are wrong. You lost because you fought their way. Now I will teach you to fight our way, the human way. And when I am done, they will never underestimate a Terran again." Admiral commandeered an entire training room for 30 days. He posted Marines at the entrance with orders to let no one inside except not instructors, not commandants. No one. What happened in that room was between family. The first day made stand in the center of the empty room for an hour. Just stand. Not fight. Not train. Just exist in his own body. You have been trying to fight like them, said, circling him slowly. Trying to be as strong as fast as you will never win that way. You are human. You need to fight like a human. I don't know how, admitted. I am weaker than everyone, slower than everyone. That is not weakness, that is difference. Let me show you something. Pulled out his personal tablet and displayed images, battle reports, medical data, comparison charts. Look at these numbers: average soldier, stronger than humans by 40%, faster reflexes, harder scales, but look at this stat: endurance. He highlighted the data. Humans can maintain combat effectiveness 3 times longer than they burn hot and fast. We burn slow and steady. After 30 minutes of hard fighting, their strength drops by half. Ours drops by only 15%. But they can kill me in the first 5 minutes, said. Only if you let them, only if you fight their fight. We are going to teach you to survive those 5 minutes, then 10 minutes, then 20. When Rax gets tired, when his strength fades, you will still be moving, still thinking, still fighting. That is when you win. The training began. Did not teach him to hit harder. He taught him to take hits, how to roll with impacts, how to protect vital areas, how to fall without breaking. It was brutal work. Did not hold back. He threw across the room again and again, taught him to absorb the damage and keep moving. Pain is just information, said as gasped on the floor. It tells you something is wrong, but it does not have to stop you. Your father knew this. He was a surveyor, not a soldier. But when raiders came, he fought with mining tools until his body gave out. He died protecting others. He died because he refused to quit even when his body screamed at him to stop. Struggled to his feet. I want to be like him. You are already like him. You just do not know it yet. Days passed. The training evolved, taught about pattern recognition, how every fighter had habits, repeated movements, weaknesses they did not know they had. Rax is an aggressive fighter, explained. I watched all your combat footage. He attacks in combinations, always 3 strikes, always. The 3rd strike is his kill move where he commits fully. That is when he is vulnerable. That is when you hurt him. They drilled it endlessly, learning to dodge, then counter on the 3rd strike. His body learned the rhythm. Dodge, counter, over and over until it was automatic. Taught him about pain tolerance, how to function when hurt. They trained with weighted vests that pressed on bruised ribs, with wraps that irritated healing injuries. Learned to fight through discomfort, to push past the signals his body sent. Human ancestors hunted by chasing prey until it collapsed from exhaustion, said. We are not ambush predators. We are persistence predators. We follow. We endure. We outlast. That is in your DNA, in every human's DNA. You just need to remember it. They worked on psychology, how to get inside an opponent's head. Rax expects you to be afraid, said. Expects you to run, to quit. So do not give him what he expects. No matter what he does, no matter how much it hurts, you keep getting up, keep coming forward, slowly, steadily, like a machine that cannot be stopped. It will terrify him, because if strength does not work, what does he have left? On the 10th day, joined the training. She brought engineering knowledge, showed how joints worked, where tendons connected, weak points in biology that were universal across species. Have powerful tails, she explained, using diagrams. But the base of the tail, where it connects to the spine, is sensitive. Their scales are thick everywhere except the inner elbow and behind the knee. Those areas are vulnerable. I am not trying to permanently hurt him, said. He tried to kill you, replied sharply. He sabotaged your suit. He wanted you dead in space. You fight to win, you fight to survive. On the 15th day, focused on endurance training. Long sessions where had to keep moving, keep fighting, even as exhaustion set in. Would attack for 5 minutes, rest, then attack again. But was not allowed to rest. He had to keep dodging, keep moving, even when his legs shook and his lungs burned. This is what Rax cannot do, said. Cannot maintain. He will burn himself out trying to finish you quickly. You just have to survive long enough. On the 20th day, they worked on mental preparation, made visualize the fight, every possible scenario, how it would feel when Rax hit him, how the crowd would react, how doubt would creep in. Your mind will try to protect you by making you quit, said. It will tell you that you cannot win, that you should surrender, that the pain is not worth it. You need to ignore that voice. You need to decide right now before the fight even starts that you will not quit, no matter what happens. Even if he breaks every bone in your body, you will keep moving. Make that decision now. Commit to it completely. Closed his eyes, thought about his father fighting with mining tools, about risking her career to help him, about Admiral taking 30 days away from commanding a fleet just to train one cadet. He thought about every humiliation he had endured, every time someone said humans were weak, every time they tried to break him. He opened his eyes. I will not quit, no matter what happens. Even if I lose, I will make him work for it. I will make him earn it. I will show everyone that humans do not break easy. Smiled. Good. Now you are ready to learn the last lesson, the most important one. The final 10 days were different, taught him a specific technique, a joint lock that used leverage instead of strength. If applied correctly, it could control someone much larger. It was old, ancient, from Earth martial arts that predated space travel, but it worked on any creature with joints. They drilled it until his hands moved automatically, until he could apply it in his sleep. It was painful when locked incorrectly, incredibly painful. Even scales could not protect against it because it worked on joints, not skin. This is your finish move, said. If you get the chance, if he makes a mistake, you lock this in and you do not let go, no matter what he does, no matter how much he struggles. You hold on until he submits or passes out. Can you do that? Yes, said without hesitation. On the 29th day, they did not train. They rested, ate good food that prepared from earth ingredients, talked about everything except the fight, about memories of family, about hopes for the future, about what it meant to be human in a galaxy that underestimated them. Why did you agree to this fight? Asked his uncle. You could have just court-martialed Rax. He would go to prison. I would be safe. Safe is not enough, replied. I want you respected. I want every species on this station to see what happens when they push a human too far, when they think we are broken. I want them to remember that humans are the species that does not quit, that endures, that wins wars not through strength but through refusal to accept defeat. What if I lose? Asked quietly. Then you lose, but you do it on your feet, fighting to the last, showing them that even broken, even defeated, a human keeps coming. That scares people more than winning does, because they know that eventually one day that human will win. Maybe not today, but someday. On the 30th day, woke before dawn. He dressed slowly. His body was different now, still not as large as but harder, leaner, efficient. His hands were covered in calluses, his ribs were healed, the bruises were gone. He looked in the mirror and saw someone different, not the scared boy who arrived at this academy, someone who had survived, who had trained with a legend, who carried a family name he had not known he possessed. Admiral met him at the door. Ready? Yes. Good. Remember everything. Fight smart. Survive long. Make him work. And when he makes a mistake, eyes hardened, you make him pay. They walked together to the arena. Word had spread across the entire sector. The duel between Rax, the champion, and the failed human cadet who turned out to be Admiral's nephew. Thousands watched through live feeds. Every cadet on the station crowded into the arena. Even officers from other ships docked just to see it. Was in the front row, her hands clasped tight. Commandant watched from the command box, her crystalline body pulsing with nervous light. Instructor stood in the corner, his face unreadable. Rax waited in the center of the arena. He looked confident, relaxed. He had trained too, preparing to finish what he started. He saw enter and smiled with all his teeth. Ready to die properly this time, little human, Rax called. Said nothing. He walked to his mark, removed his jacket, rolled his shoulders. His heart was beating fast, but his hands were steady. He looked across the arena at the who had tormented him for months, who had tried to kill him in space, who represented every alien who thought humans were weak. Gripped his shoulder one last time. Fight our way, the human way, show them what we are. The referee, a neutral, stepped forward. Standard combat rules: fight until submission or incapacitation. No lethal force authorized. Medics standing by. Combatants ready. Rax raised his claws. Ready. Raised his hands and dropped into the stance taught him. Weight balanced. Center low. Ready to move. Ready. The referee's light flashed green. Begin. Rax charged immediately. He was fast, his massive body covering the distance in seconds. His claws came down in a killing strike aimed at its head. The entire arena gasped. This was not practice sparring. This was real violence. Moved not backward, sideways, the way taught him. Rax's claws cut empty air where his head had been a moment before. Felt the wind from the strike pass his cheek. Rax spun and attacked again. 3 strikes just like predicted: overhead slash, side swipe, tail whip. Dodged the first, dodged the second. The tail caught him in the ribs and he felt something crack. Pain exploded through his chest. He rolled with the impact instead of resisting. Came up on his feet 5 meters away. Breathing hurt, but he stayed standing. Rax laughed. Already broken, this will be quick. Did not respond. He just stood there, weight balanced, waiting. Blood trickled from his mouth, but his eyes were steady. Rax charged again. Another combination. Slash, slash, grab, dodged the slashes. The grab caught his shoulder and Rax lifted him off the ground, threw him across the arena, hit the wall hard. Stars exploded in his vision. Stay down, someone in the crowd yelled. He will kill you. Pushed himself up. His shoulder was dislocated. He could feel it, but had taught him about pain, how to function through it. He stood, favoring his other arm, and returned to the center. The crowd fell silent. Even Rax paused. The human should be finished, but he kept standing. What is wrong with you? Rax hissed. Why do you not quit? Spit blood onto the arena floor. Because I am human, we do not quit. Something flickered in Rax's eyes. Not respect. Fear. The kind of fear you feel when something refuses to behave the way it should, when prey does not run, when the weak does not surrender. Rax attacked with more fury. Faster combinations, harder strikes. He caught twice more, once in the face, splitting his lip, once in the leg, buckling his knee. Each time went down, each time got back up. 5 minutes passed, then 10. Rax was breathing harder now. His strikes were still powerful but not as precise. Sweat glistened on his scales. He had expected this to be over in seconds, but the human just kept standing. Circled slowly. His body was broken, he knew it. Cracked ribs, dislocated shoulder, possible concussion. But his mind was clear. He was counting, watching, waiting for the pattern showed him. 15 minutes. Rax was slowing down noticeably now. His attacks came in the same combinations but with less speed. His breathing was labored. He was burning out just like said he would. Was tired too, exhausted, every part of him hurt, but he had trained for this, had pushed himself to the breaking point for 30 days. This was just another training session, just another time to endure. 20 minutes. The crowd was completely silent now. This was not how fights went. Rax should have won already, should have destroyed the smaller opponent. But the human refused to stay down, kept moving, kept dodging, kept surviving. Fight back, Rax roared in frustration. Stop running and fight. Said nothing, he just kept circling, kept watching, kept waiting. Then it happened, 23 minutes in. Rax charged with a desperate 3-strike combination. Slash, slash, overhead kill strike. He committed everything to the final blow, putting all his remaining strength into it. Dodged the first slash, dodged the second. The third came down like a hammer, but was not there. He stepped inside Rax's reach, too close for claws to work. His good hand moved exactly the way taught him. He grabbed Rax's extended arm at the wrist and elbow, turned his body, dropped his weight. The joint lock snapped into place. Rax screamed. His arm was hyperextended, the joint stressed beyond its design. If pulled harder, it would break. Held the position and dropped to the ground, wrapping his legs around Rax's arm for extra leverage. Even dislocated, his shoulder provided enough strength for this, because this technique was not about muscle. It was about physics, about leverage, about refusing to let go. Rax tried to pull away, tried to use his other arm to hit, but the angle was wrong. Any movement made the pain worse. His free hand slapped uselessly at its back. His tail thrashed. Nothing worked. The human had him trapped. "Submit," said quietly. His voice was calm despite the blood on his face. "Submit and this ends." "Never," Rax hissed. "I will not lose to a human." Tighten the lock slightly. Rax screamed again. The sound echoed through the silent arena. "You already lost," said. "You lost when you thought I would quit, when you thought I would break, when you forgot that humans do not fight for 5 minutes. We fight for 50, for 500, for however long it takes." Rax struggled harder. His scales scraped against the arena floor. His breathing came in desperate gasps, but held on. His hands were locked together. His body position was perfect. Had drilled this into him 10,000 times. He could hold this forever if he needed to. 30 seconds passed. 1 minute, 2 minutes. Rax's struggles became weaker. The pain was overwhelming. His arm felt like it was on fire. Tears streamed from his eyes. He had never felt anything like this. Never been trapped so completely. "Submit," repeated. "I do not want to break your arm, but I will if you make me." Rax looked across the arena, at the thousands of cadets watching, at instructor who had called humans weak, at commandant who had tried to expel, at admiral standing with his arms crossed and his eyes cold. Rax saw the truth in that moment. If he did not submit, the human would hold this lock until his arm broke, until he passed out from pain. The human had already proven he could endure, could outlast, could refuse to quit no matter what happened. "I submit," Rax gasped. "I submit, let go." The referee's light flashed red. "Submission, fight over. Winner, cadet." "Release the lock immediately." He rolled away and tried to stand. His legs shook. His vision blurred, everything hurt, but he made it to his feet, barely. The arena erupted. Not with boos or insults, with cheers. Cadets from every species stood and applauded. They had watched a human, smaller and weaker, defeat a champion through pure endurance and refusal to surrender. They had seen something they thought was impossible. Even cadets were cheering, because whatever else was, he had earned their respect. He had shown them what it meant to fight past all reasonable limits, to keep going when your body begged you to stop. Admiral walked onto the arena floor. He caught as his legs finally gave out, held him upright with one strong arm. "You did it," said quietly. "You won." "I hurt everywhere," whispered. "Good, that means you are still alive." Looked at the assembled crowd, at the cadets and instructors and officers. He raised his voice. "Let this be a lesson to everyone watching. You humiliated my nephew because you thought he was weak. You mocked his species because you did not understand what we are, but now you know. Humans are not the strongest, we are not the fastest, but we are the ones who refuse to quit, the ones who keep fighting when everyone else has fallen. That is our strength. That is why we survived. That is why we win." He pulled something from his pocket, his personal fleet commander insignia, a small metal badge that represented his rank, his authority, his legend. He pinned it to his torn uniform. "You bear our family name with honor," said. "You have proven yourself a warrior, not because you are strong, but because you refuse to break." Looked down at the insignia through blurry eyes. "I am not a legend like you." "Not yet," said, "but you will be, because legends are not born, they are forged in pain, in struggle, in refusing to accept defeat. You just took the first step. Medics rushed in to treat. They reset his shoulder, bound his ribs, treated his injuries. He would be in the medical bay for a week, they said, maybe longer, but he would recover. Humans always recovered. Commandant approached as the medics worked. Her crystalline body pulsed with shame. Cadet, I owe you an apology. We failed you. We allowed abuse to continue. We blamed you for sabotage. We nearly expelled you for being the victim. That was wrong, unforgivably wrong. Yes, said simply, it was. Changes will be made. Instructor has been relieved of duty. New policies will protect all cadets regardless of species, and your simulation scores will be restored, all of them. You have always been in the top 10%. We just refuse to see it. Nodded it was enough, not perfect but enough. Rax was treated for his injured arm. He would recover too, but he was formally charged with attempted murder for the pressure suit sabotage. Court-martial proceedings would follow. His military career was over. When was released from medical a week later, things were different. Cadets nodded to him in the halls, made space for him in the mess hall, stopped calling him the human and started using his name. Some even asked him for advice on endurance training. Hugged him carefully, mindful of his healing ribs. I told you someone was watching. I told you to hold on. Thank you, said, for everything, for the reports, for the food, for believing in me when no one else did. Someone else believed, she said, glancing at Admiral who watched from across the room. He was always watching, always waiting, ready to come if you truly needed him, but he wanted to see if you could survive on your own first, if you had the family strength. Completed his training at Nexus Academy. He graduated 6 months later, ranked 8th in his class overall, top 3 in tactical simulations, recommended for advanced command training. Other human cadets returned to the academy. Then more. Then dozens. The video of his fight with Rax spread across the sector, became mandatory viewing in some military academies. The humans do not quit. That became the lesson. At his graduation ceremony, Admiral attended. He stood with as the commandant called his name, as walked across the stage to receive his officer commission. As the assembled cadets, hundreds of them from a dozen species, stood and applauded. Afterward and stood on the observation deck, looking out at the stars. What happens now? Asked. Now you serve, you lead. You show others what you showed them, that humans are not to be underestimated, that we survive, that we endure, that we win. Will I see you again? Yes, I am your uncle, your family. We take care of our own, placed a hand on his shoulder. But more than that, you are a Terran officer now. One day you may serve in my fleet, on the Iron Phoenix, fighting the battles others cannot win. Would you like that? Looked out at the stars, at the vast darkness punctuated by distant lights. Somewhere out there were threats to humanity, enemies who needed to learn the same lesson Rax learned, that humans might be weak individually, but together we are unbreakable. Yes, said, I would like that very much. Good, smiled. Then get strong, get smart. Learn everything you can because the galaxy is dangerous, and humanity needs warriors, not the kind who win through strength, the kind who win through refusal to surrender, the kind like you. Years later, his name appeared on the Nexus Academy Wall of Honor, right beside his uncle's name. Below them both, a simple inscription. They humiliated the Terran youth until their mightiest warrior called him kin. Then they learned what it means to fight a human who refuses to quit. The story spread to every human colony, every military base, every ship in the void. It became a reminder, a warning, a promise. Do not underestimate humanity. Do not assume our size means weakness. Do not think our kindness means we cannot fight. Because when you push a human too far, when you think they are broken, that is when they are most dangerous. That is when they show you what they truly are. Survivors, warriors who never quit. And that is why humanity survived among the stars, not because we were the strongest, but because we refused to be broken. That is the human way.